know why you are here?" Old Laurio asked while observing them. As he continued his observation, he noticed that Master Pedrito was absent. Moments later, his attention was drawn to one of the healers who spoke. "Excuse us, Mr. Laurio. Master Pedrito has summoned you. He wants to discuss a few matters with you." "I have no intention of talking to him. Maybe he forgot that we have a grudge," replied old Laurio. "And no matter what he does, he can't make me obey," added old Laurio. With these words, he quickly returned to his work, signaling to the healers that he had no interest in their purpose. Even his wife couldn't help but feel angry with him for his unexpected rudeness in front of others. "Laurio, talk to me. Don't be rude to those visiting us. Think about how you would feel in their situation," his wife said. Upon hearing this, old Laurio stood up to speak to them again. Their conversation didn't last long as he repeatedly asked them to leave their home. After these events, the healers didn't come back, seemingly having forgotten about him, which he greatly appreciated. During old Laurio's days of silence, he continued to communicate with the copper he served. The copper revealed many things to him, contrary to his former beliefs, and assigned him missions he needed to accomplish. According to old Laurio, in all the dimensions present in this world, there are people chosen by the copper. These chosen ones perform gruesome tasks or kill beings considered enemies. This process is repeated because the demon they serve desires to rule the world. Many had been chosen before old Laurio to undertake such missions in our world. Knowing this, he couldn't help but wonder if he was doing the right thing. The only reason old Laurio allied with the copper was to prove to all the healers in their village that he possessed unique skills. He also wanted everyone to look up to him and give him the attention he craved. That was his only desire, which led him to ally with the copper. One day, someone invited old Laurio to work in the fields. It happened to be the rice harvest season, so he took the opportunity to get some free rice. He knew it would be a big help for him and his family. "Laurio, are you coming?" asked an acquaintance. "Yes, Ronnie. I'll join." "Wait a moment, I'll get a sickle," replied old Laurio. With these words, he quickly gathered his tools and a container of water. He didn't bring any food as there was supposedly a free ration in the fields. Upon arriving at the landowner's place, everyone took their positions among the rice boxes they would harvest. Since the field was several hectares, most of the farmers in their village were there. Even some of Master Pedrito's disciples were there to help with the harvest. He ignored them, knowing where their conversation would lead. As old Laurio continued to observe the surroundings, his attention was suddenly drawn to three men not far from where he stood. They weren't moving and seemed to be staring into the distance. Moments later, his attention was diverted when he heard the landowner mention that those three men were part of their group. As they approached his location, old Laurio suddenly smelled the scent of a Skinwalker. He ignored it, knowing that his demonic nature was stronger. After being assigned their tasks, they immediately went to the area they would harvest. They were the only ones harvesting 12 boxes of rice, so they had to help each other. "Friends, I'm Laurio. It seems like this is the first time I've seen you here. Where are you from?" old Laurio asked as they walked. Upon hearing this, the three looked at each other, seemingly hesitant to answer. A few minutes passed before one of them spoke. "We're just from around here, sir. We rarely go to town, we usually guard the vegetable gardens." "Ah, I see. Well, let's hurry up with the harvest. I have a lot to do at home," he replied. After their conversation, they reached the first box of rice. As old Laurio was about to step into the field, one of them stopped him, saying, "Just wait there, Laurio. We'll do the harvesting for you. Don't worry. We'll still share equally." With these words, they quickly stepped into the rice box. Old Laurio could do nothing but watch them. He decided to hide in the grass so he wouldn't be seen by some of their fellow villagers. As he continued to observe, he finally confirmed that his 3 companions were skinwalkers. They hardly rested, seemingly unaffected by fatigue. They worked incredibly fast and didn't seem to feel hunger. Within just 3 hours, old Laurio's companions finished the harvest. They could only rest at the edge of the field while waiting for their companions who weren't finished yet. 2 of them were talking to old Laurio, while the other continued to inspect each grain of rice they had collected. The other one wandered around the rice boxes they had harvested, seemingly looking for something. "Gentlemen, may I know what kind you are?" Old Laurio asked. Upon hearing this, the 2 were visibly shocked. They could only look into the distance, ignoring what they had heard. Moments later, old Laurio grabbed one of them, saying, "When I talk to you, you answer. Is this what your kind teaches? Not knowing how to respect those of higher rank?" With these words, old Laurio exuded his intense presence. At that moment, the 2 men had no choice but to look at him while slowly bowing. He could also feel their bodies trembling due to his intimidation. Even their companion inspecting the rice grains stopped what he was doing when he felt old Laurio's presence. Moments later, one of the men answered, We're sorry. We didn't realize you were one of us." After speaking, he immediately prostrated himself before him and kissed his feet without hesitation. Old Laurio allowed it, as it was a sign of respect among skinwalkers. It was then that he managed to have a proper conversation with them, as if they were a book filled with answers to every question he had. During their conversation, old Laurio learned that they were aligned with the Wendigo, having half the blood of a sorcerer. They also had no powerful Wendigo, which allowed them to give old Laurio a high level of respect. "Old Laurio, if you have nothing to do tonight, our home is open for you. We'll wait for your visit whenever you wish to come. We'll inform our family and other relatives," one man said. With these words, they carried the sacks full of rice they had harvested. Upon returning to the landowner's home, everyone was surprised to see them laughing and seriously talking. It was as if they were closer than blood relatives who hadn't seen each other in a long time. When some of Master Pedrito's disciples saw this, they began to doubt old Laurio. They knew the 3 men were skinwalkers. So, why would he have time to talk to them? It was impossible for old Laurio not to know they were skinwalkers, as he also possessed deep knowledge. That night, old Laurio left their home early. When he passed by Master Pedrito's house, he was immediately blocked by some of them. "Laurio, it's good you visited. Come, join us. Master Pedrito is waiting inside," one of his disciples said upon seeing him. Before we continue, please like this video and subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated with our new uploads. Now, let's get back to the story. Old Laurio listened quietly as the disciples of Master Pedrito explained why they had come. His face was unreadable, but a sharp observer might have noticed a flicker of annoyance. When old Laurio entered the shaman's house, he was greeted by several individuals deep in prayer. Despite the intense heat that seemed to surround him like an inferno, he kept his composure, hiding the turmoil inside him. As he walked further, he saw Master Pedrito sitting by the altar, stroking a stingray tail while chanting. One of the disciples announced. Master Pedrito, Sir Laurio is here. Hearing this, Master Pedrito stood up and approached old Laurio, puzzled by his unexpected visit. Oh Laurio, it's good to see you. How have you been? Old Laurio replied. I wasn't planning to visit you. Your disciples stopped me as I passed by. Master Pedrito, hearing this, quickly dismissed his disciples to give them privacy. Once alone, Master Pedrito slowly revealed his concerns to old Laurio. Laurio, do you harbor any ill will towards me? I feel as though a demon attempted to take my life. If that's true, I'm ready to duel you. Master Pedrito said. It's wrong to accuse without evidence, Pedrito. Old Laurio replied. Your baseless accusations only diminish my respect for you. You are no different from those who judge others unjustly. Perhaps the demons threaten you because of your own evil deeds. Master Pedrito, offended, struck old Laurio with the stingray tail he held. Old Laurio did not retaliate, choosing instead to leave with a smirk of satisfaction. As he walked away, he continued towards the home of the skinwalkers he had recently met. He arrived at a path lined with banana trees and tall grasses, hearing the calls of various animals, indicating their presence. Suddenly, he caught a strange scent in the air, recognizing it as a skinwalker's. He stopped to survey his surroundings, hearing bird calls often associated with skinwalkers. Continuing to listen, old Laurio noticed the sounds of footsteps around him. He whistled, and in response, he heard a series of whistles that suggested something or someone was evading him. Then, his pet Sigbin appeared, holding a struggling skinwalker. Seeing this, old Laurio commanded the Sigbin to release it. The skinwalker, upon seeing old Laurio's piercing eyes, was paralyzed with fear. Were you not informed of my visit? Old Laurio asked. We were informed, but I didn't expect it to be you. Who are you? Why can't I sense the demon within you? The skinwalker asked. Old Laurio laughed. You are far too inferior to understand my power. After this exchange, they walked back to the skinwalker's home. Upon arrival, old Laurio saw some of the skinwalker's relatives cooking in the yard, along with several Sigbins watching the area. Sensing his presence, they stopped what they were doing and gathered to greet him. The three men from the field approached him, engaging in conversation while waiting for their meal. After some time, old Laurio excused himself, needing to return home to his family. As he arrived home, he immediately sensed traces of a demon's presence in their yard. Fearing for his only child, he rushed inside to check on his wife and son. Finding his son Jude pale and his wife Linda unaware in her sleep, old Laurio woke her up urgently. Linda, wake up, he said. Linda cradled Jude, crying as old Laurio searched for clues around the house. He found traces of a Wendigo and other skinwalkers but knew they hadn't completed their plan. Determined to protect his son, he held Jude, chanting to summon his Sigbin to track down the intruders. Once Jude recovered, old Laurio decided to stay up all night to guard him. Early the next morning, he went under their bed to consult his Sigbin, who revealed visions of the Wendigo traveling from a distant village. Enraged, old Laurio decided to confront them that night. He left his Sigbin to guard his son and traveled to the distant village. As he neared the Wendigo house, he felt his anger intensify. He arrived at a small hut by a stream, where he smelled the stench of rotting flesh and heard the Wendigo performing rituals. The surroundings fell silent, interrupted only by occasional whistles. Spotting the Wendigo, old Laurio attacked without hesitation. His speed caught them off guard, and they barely registered his presence before he struck. Holding one of them in his grip, the others surrounded him, led by a figure he assumed was their leader. Old Laurio dropped the lifeless body of the Wendigo, showing his sharp fangs as he advanced. An elder Wendigo spoke. "Why did you kill one of us? What wrong have we done to you?" "Wrong? You dared to threaten my only child. For that, I sentence you all to death. I don't care about the demon you serve," Old Laurio declared. Before we finish this story, what do you think about it? Please write your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be happy to read them. But before anything else, if you haven't liked this video yet, please give it a like and subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next episode.